coke, huh?
I started doing
Brandon's
coke.
not sick this time, and Chad's not put his body through hell.
I'm a little hungover.
Should be a little
So
better.
Ronnie's
I
hungover.
mean, I did drink
So-
last night.
Oh, shit. Well, fuck then.
I'm
But with
actually
that
pretty
note,
good.
let's get this show started.
Yeah, shit.
All right, what do we do now?
Someone
What do I
says
do with my
hey,
hands?
and then Michael goes, and
Okay.
then he yells at us because
Say
we
hey.
didn't say it correctly.
All right, so welcome to the.
We started?
We started
Hey!
a long time ago.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't know that.
We've been started.
Welcome to the Heyyy Show, the show about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, MMA. It's definitely not for experts. It's for people who accidentally wrist lock themselves. Hey, I remember my tagline. That's
That's a good one,
good
too.
yeah. All right,
Been
so we are going to start off with something that actually just happened timely. As you can tell by sometimes we don't change our shirts. We film these in a little bit of a block, kind of a little
What?
peek behind the curtain.
What? Oh, fourth
So,
wall broken.
First and foremost, Who's Number One just started, so we wanted to tell Tristan to get better, and he made us all proud by his.
At the attempt at fighting the giant.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not sure how many people signed up to fight Big
It's
Dan.
not an easy task.
giant is almost an
Yeah,
understatement.
that guy was enormous.
Yeah. So the big news of the day, obviously, is Who's Number One. We saw a lot of amazing matches. We had two Pedigo people on the show, of course. At the same time, the big matches that we saw was, and I forgot one of their Tackett and Souza, Isaac and Chambers, and then Gordon and Pena. So you guys want to go ahead and start
Max,
off?
Max
Hansen,
matches
yeah.
good too.
Yes, absolutely.
So he fought that pirate guy or whatever he calls
Pirate
himself.
guy.
Yeah, he calls himself a pirate or something.
He wears a hat like a pirate.
It's funny
But
because Lucy and I right now watch this show and it's kind of cute, but it's a dad and
Are
daughter.
you talking
know?
about a captain's hat?
Yeah.
Okay. So not necessarily a pirate hat, but a captain's
Maybe
hat?
that's what it is.
Yeah, I
He's a
changed that around
captain.
to sailor.
He's not a pirate. He's a captain.
Now, if he does say, I'm the captain now, he is then a pirate.
Yeah, then he is a pirate.
I don't know, but yeah. So Lucy and I are watching this show right now, and the dad and daughter. The dad's a pirate, and the daughter's like a mermaid or a fairy, and it's kind of cool to watch.
Right?
So I think I deal with a lot of pirates right now.
All right.
I was asking where that was going to go. But
Yeah, that's
okay,
it.
got it. Totally got it.
There.
So,
This guy's a captain.
so any thoughts on any of those more marquee matches?
Well, the captain lost.
The captain.
Bummer.
Max won.
How did he lose?
I think it went to decision.
It did go to decision.
But
And that's just based on, like,
actually, so Max right off the beginning takes the guy's back, right? Like he passes the guard, takes his back, looks great, is on the back, loses the back, and that happened quite a few times on this Who's Number One or Who's Next, whatever you want to call it, and it was kind of neat that some of these people that were just getting completely destroyed did have their one-shot opportunity to come back and win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Unpopular opinion from the shirts we're wearing and stuff. I actually thought he lost.
Who?
I thought Max lost.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny because in the beginning I was like, clearly it's Max.
Yeah.
But
of
man,
course.
by the end of it, I was like, it could honestly go either way, and I would be okay with it.
Well, the judges actually in the midway point, they actually were giving it to the other guy.
Yeah, because I think in the middle he was actually starting to win. I think Max at the end might have barely
Turned it up enough.
well, he like re-swept him in the end, and I think he was on top in the end.
There's no points, right? It's just the
No,
refs
it's
kind of like
it's just
momentum-based.
which I like it. I like what besides the no time limit, which we'll probably get into later. I definitely like what flow grappling's doing for the sport and what Gordon Ryan and everyone's
Absolutely.
doing. Because it's like yesterday I was in a Facebook battle, go figure, with
From your normal account, I
some
assume.
dude, yeah, from my normal account.
Fun.
Some dude was hating on Gordon Ryan, because everyone keeps calling him the GOAT, and of course the battles, no gi, blah, blah, blah. But, hands down, Gordon Ryan has changed the sport and created it to be where athletes can actually make money.
Yep.
Right now, the future of jiu-jitsu is actually at a good place where people can start making income by being a grappler.
Yeah.
And you could
Absolutely.
say whoever's the GOAT, but nobody else did that. Marcelo, to me, Marcelo's one of the GOATs. Hodger's one of the GOATs. But at the end of the day, they didn't make it where it's able to make money.
It's funny to see you go full circle from shit-talking Gordon Ryan on Facebook to defending him now.
Well, I wasn't the one shit-talking him. This other guy was.
Well, you
In the
so-
past.
I did probably, maybe that was a long
Coming
time
out.
ago.
That's what I mean. You've really
I've really
changed.
grown up.
Yeah.
He's evolved.
So my only perspective on that was that I thought midway through he had done some good things, and then in the last 5 minutes, he kept him in guard the entire time. So that's probably the bias of my daughter's a guard player and things like that. But I just didn't really see a lot of. He swept him at the bell too, which I know is one of those things. So, but yeah, the Isaac and Chambers match. Actually,
we can talk about that for 2 hours.
I was about to say let's actually
blow by blow.
Let's change that up. Let's go to Gordon Pena first because the Isaac and Chambers is going to lead into the next question. So let's go with Gordon and Pena first.
Okay. Brandon, you got anything to say?
Oh my God!
I've got too much to say. I'm just gonna let you go ahead. Don't even get me started.
That's only good for people in our group chat. So okay, sweet.
All right. What's the question?
Thoughts on Gordon? Yeah, thoughts on Gordon and Pena.
It's pretty one-sided. If you ask me.
Do you give like Pena like the little bit of a win that Gordon didn't finish the submission that was on the card? You're like, oh hey, at least he didn't finish.
What was on the card?
It was the
choke.
smother the person.
Smother him to death.
But look,
Literally just like cup the mouth.
no, where he's just trying to put the chest down on the front. I mean, he was kind of
what he did
waterboarding
with
him,
Couch.
which was great.
Pull the head in or
Waterboarded,
something.
Yeah, you know, he
Kinda
was
like
kind
how
of
he
trying to
beat
do with
Couch.
Couch.
Yeah. He entered with
But I
his
think he
shoulder
got
blade.
Couch with pressure more than actually trying to smother him.
Yeah, his shoulder getting locked up.
And Nicholas Marigali in the same card was trying to do the same thing, so that must be like their thing right now. Is their? I mean, it's
What the next
He
instructional is going to come out.
Smothering people to death.
smothering people.
I guess I didn't realize that they trained together.
So Nicholas Marigali just full time switched over to Gordon. I think
Is
after.
Gordon still in Puerto Rico?
No, they're in
Austin.
Austin, Texas now.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
started
When they split,
New
when
New Wave,
yeah,
BJJ.
New Wave, and then Craig Jones and Nicky
started
Rod
B team.
B team. Yep. Also in Austin.
Which
Is
both
Danaher still a part of it?
He
Danaher
went
still
with
with
New
Gordon.
Wave, yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, both teams are incredible
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, they both have monsters. I mean, Gordon's team went 5-0, I think, for the night,
Yeah.
Yep.
and I mean, Big Dan got lucky, but
He did.
so, but you know, I mean, back to the match. It's first Nicholas Marigali. I think after he got screwed at the Worlds, he was done with the gi.
Yeah.
Not necessarily done with the gi, but he wanted something different, and he was tired of getting screwed by IBG Jeff, which most people are. And
Is he
flows.
Brazilian?
Yeah, I mean, he
Interesting.
definitely looks in the middle, where he could be both.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
That was good. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Ish.
I want to say he's Brazilian, but he's
I just
coming
didn't
over
know.
to the American side more and more.
We have Google
So-
machines, so I guess I'll look that up.
All right, back to the match,
Yeah,
right?
go right ahead.
Right.
All right. So Gordon made a statement. I mean, hands down, he took a guy that was one of the best grapplers on the planet. I mean, he's double gold adult black belt world champion.
Damn, really? Pena?
No, well, Pena's incredible too, but we're talking about Pedro.
Pedro Marino.
Marigali.
Yeah, no, Pedro Marino.
Yeah.
That's who he faced this weekend.
Yep.
I know you
Yeah,
watched.
he's
you
gonna face
I
Pena
was
later.
working.
I was teaching a class, so
But he, you know, I mean,
He is Brazilian, so you didn't mess that up. There we go.
Nice.
so for 30 minutes, for 25 minutes, for 5 minutes, you know, it's funny. You got to take the match in parts. My ADHD gets ahead of me.
Mhm.
But Gordon could have probably effortlessly in a minute or 2 minutes probably subbed him if he wanted to. But he really wanted to make a statement because he's got Andre Gavallo coming up and he's got Pena coming up. I think that after this, Gavallo might just disappear. if he does the same thing to Pena
That he did to
that he did,
Galvao.
that he just did to Pedro, then it's done. Like,
Yeah, they asked for a prediction and an envelope or whatever,
Mhm.
and he said, "No, I'm just gonna enjoy my 30 minutes with him."
yeah, 30 or 40 minutes or whatever. He
Yeah.
said, I'm just going to torture him. And I mean, look, his clubbing the head, Michael and I were kind of talking about this last night. I think the only person that's going to be able to do anything to Gordon the next 5 years is going to have to be taller than Gordon.
Mm.
People keep saying the weight classes. Well, the weight's only 10 pounds difference, so that's a horrible excuse. I mean, Tristan's match was 60 pounds difference or whatever. That's
Yeah,
a
that's a big
difference.
difference.
This is 10 pounds, so you can't say it's weight, but the height, it's like, how do you take Gordon down? If you take Gordon down, you're going to get leg locked. If you take Gordon down, you're going to get in some bad places. So the guy didn't want to shoot on him at all.
No.
And all he's doing is just clubbing the guy's head for 5 minutes. You could see that the guy was getting exhausted. I mean, could you imagine one of the strongest people in the sport basically clubbing your head for 5 minutes? I mean...
And he's so much bigger and taller than I realized. Like,
Yeah.
when we saw him at Worlds, he's like
Yeah.
6'3" or
He
taller.
So
maybe.
Pedro weighed what, like 210?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Gordon weighed like 225, or it was something
Yeah, that's
close.
close
It
enough.
wasn't horribly off.
Yeah, it's,
But the height was
how
definitely
tall
there.
is the other guy?
I don't know,
He's
5'9",
on the
I
short
think.
side. Yeah.
So he's like my height.
He was like 5'9", and Gordon was
Yeah.
like 6'3" or 6'2" or something like that. They listed.
I can't imagine Gordon clubbing my head for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
It's,
it was
20
it was
minutes.
beautiful on his part, because when you watch the Pedro and Craig Jones match,
Mm-hmm.
Craig Jones pulled guard, and Pedro clearly is more of a top guy, not a guard guy, and Pedro played smart and did get in leg entanglements and
And
just
made him stand back up.
Did he beat Craig?
he ended up beating Craig,
Yeah.
but and Gordon said that, he said, I mean, Craig played the passive jiu-jitsu where he wanted to get in the entanglements, and Pedro never let it happen. So Gordon just went after him. Gordon just took it to him at his game, beat him at every part of his game, took him down, took his, smashed him, did whatever he wanted with him. Pedro made a few attempts, and the cool thing is like, some people would say, well, Pedro almost got him in the leg lock. No, Gordon let him put him in a leg lock. Gordon kept putting himself back in half guard. Gordon kept putting himself back in these positions.
Was Gordon on top? In half
Gordon
guard?
was on top, yeah. But Gordon was on mount or wherever, and he would put his leg back in the leg entanglement. So it's funny to listen to the internet, say, oh, well, Pedro almost leg locked Gordon. And it was like, no, he put his foot there and then escaped it. Because do you know how, we've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all rolled with somebody better. That it's like the most demoralizing thing in the world when someone's just like giving you these opportunities because they know you can't
And you
finish
still
them.
can't capitalize
And it
on
just
it,
takes
yeah.
your morals, like your morale, so much more down after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Um,
was one of the things that was posed because, again, you're talking for both matches, they were having to fill time for 40 minutes of just nothing,
Yeah.
just no action, just Gordon trying to smother. And somebody asked Kendall, he said, "When's the last time you've been in a room with world champions and there's one just better than everyone else?" And she's like, "It doesn't happen."
Yeah.
And
Not
that's
that,
like,
level
and that's like
better,
where
I
you
feel like.
saw it. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
He's scary good.
Yeah, he's patting the guy on the head, and he's singing, and he's talking to the announcers, and he's talking to Pedro's coaches.
Telling
it's-
them, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, they're saying stuff. I think they're saying stuff in Portuguese. He might know a little bit. I don't know, but he's laughing at him and saying, "Yeah, no," and people could say, "Oh, that's arrogant. That's cocky." Yes, but at the same time, everybody's hating on him in the world, and he's sitting
Yeah.
here saying, "Look."
Yeah.
And he's proving it time after
Right.
time, you know?
And everybody can hate, but I guarantee when he's at home, he's putting the time in. He is putting 8 hours a day into perfecting whatever technique he's working on.
I was going to say, what do you think it is that's separating him so much further ahead of
Well,
everybody else? Is
well,
it
let's
just his
look at it
work
from
ethic
right
and
here.
his
How much,
training, or-
all four of us, how much do we drill a week?
Yeah, not enough.
Not enough.
Before I got hurt at blue and purple belt, how much was I drilling with Eric? At least 3 hours a day.
Easily.
That was before class. That was coming in, and Eric was holding me accountable for 3 hours a day and counting my reps. And I didn't have a kid, and I had more free time.
Yeah.
And my game, I won everything at blue and purple. And then I got injured, and I had a kid, and I can't drill like I used to.
Yeah.
But I guarantee that Gordon is drilling at an astronomical amount of time per day, and not just live rolling.
Yeah.
And we're also getting into he is a full-time professional jiu-jitsu.
He's the highest paid grappler in the
Yeah.
world as far as
Yeah.
a BJJ sense.
So he has nothing else to do but that. So that's why that's another. So are a lot of those guys now, though.
Yeah.
But it's still one of the reasons why those guys in there are just leaps and bounds better than everyone else, is because that's literally all they do. And that's where we may start seeing a split where there's gonna be the professional league and then the amateur league.
Yeah.
Where, I think if you want to see it, or like tournaments, you're going to see more of like.
Well, that's
okay,
why they've
how do
added
you-
points to a lot of these tournaments.
Yeah.
You can't go do them unless you have these points. That way, you're not wasting someone's time and match.
Right.
The-
Like
the-
qualifying points.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you can't do the worlds or you can't do the point or the pans without having a certain amount of points. That way, because one year, one side of the division, some guy got all these
Like
bums.
7 bums?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, the other guy had like the most ridiculous
Murderer's row.
cut side ever. And so, I mean, but yeah, Gordon's on a different level, and I've been to a lot of gyms, and I've never seen anybody legit drill. I mean,
Do you think besides just the amount of time he's putting into drilling techniques, though, do you think just the actual techniques he is drilling are different and up to a higher
I
standard?
don't necessarily
than other
think
people
so. I
are
don't think there's
doing?
any special techniques. I really don't. I think that he's figured out the leg lock thing and he's perfected it. I think he's figured out the wrestling thing and he's perfected it. I think he's figured out the guard passing and how to use his body, and he's perfected that. I don't know what special he could create. It's not like he's doing a rubber guard technique
But
or
that's
he's
the
doing a
thing with,
lapel
like-
technique or.
I feel like that's the thing with jiu-jitsu techniques, though. It's not like super obvious when you just look at it. It's always those small little nuanced things.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's drilled. It's kind of like that new guard pass that we're doing, right? Like floating on the leg and hooking, right? Like we're doing it right now, and we've done it. You know, I've done it 100 times this week. Let's say, if he's done it 5,000 or 10,000 times, who's going to be better at it and know all the little
Right.
grabbing with the, okay, if my toe's sitting here like this, it makes so much more of a difference. If my hand is posted out here at his head instead of here at his armpit, what's the
Right.
pressure difference? Like, they're sitting there for hours and they're analyzing that, and I guarantee John that's what he's good at.
Yeah.
Is sitting there and looking, okay, you know what, if his hand's there, it's a 10% pressure difference. If his
Yeah.
hand's down here, and that's what's going to make the sport really evolve and get scary is when you have someone that can actually put that time into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all that is finding that it's always trying to find the path of least resistance, and when you do it that many times, you're going to, because it gets tiring. You're like,
Yeah, you
how
find that path.
How can I make this easier on myself, and then make it harder on you but easier on me? Because no one's gonna I'm gonna make this as hard on myself as possible. No one wants that. No one does. So that's why you drill it. That
Only
many
Brandon
times.
and I.
Well, yeah.
Now, there is 1,000 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu podcasts and shows out there, and they're all doing the same thing of praising the altar of Gordon Ryan. So let's go on to the next match. And
I was praising Gordon Ryan.
I mean, pretty much.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gordon
So
Ryan sucks.
Isaac and Chambers, and I can't say Isaac's name. That's why I keep saying Isaac, and we have an
Fair enough.
Isaac, so it's pretty easy. So any thoughts on that, or regretting your life decisions?
I watched
or,
all 2 hours.
Did you really?
No,
That's
hold on.
impressive.
We have to stop right there because we have to tell a famous Chad story here. That Chad is still the only person who watches The Walking Dead.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Chad is a completionist. Like
I
he
am.
just is gonna, if he's invested the time, he's gonna do it. I checked out twice on it. I tried to watch it again last night, and I checked out again.
Oscar.
I was done.
Oscar called me
Done.
yesterday, and
And asked if you wanted to watch Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That's right. Or that he's a
going?
completionist.
so he said, I'm struggling and I can't figure out how to get into the gym and be consistent. Right? And I think everybody goes through that, especially with the economy and gas and everything going on right now. I think it's the hardest thing in the world right now to be positive.
Yeah.
Right? To be like, I need to get in the gym. I need to. And the problem is it's the best thing you could do, right?
Yeah,
like it's
obviously.
the best thing
Yeah,
you
once
could
you
do
get there, it
is to
feels
get into
great.
the gym and be with friends and to train and to. But when you're sitting at home and you're in bed and you're like, man, it cost me $40, because he lives 30 minutes away or whatever, and he's got his car and it's like, well, it cost me $10 to get to class. It cost, I could do this, I could play this video game, I could sit here, it's hard, I think, right now to be motivated when it seems like everything's doom and gloom around, kind of.
Yeah.
And he said, what should I do? And I said, Oscar, I don't know what to tell you, because if you're not willing to listen, it's hard, right? Like a lot of people, they know what to do. Everyone knows what to do,
A lot
right?
of times you just don't
You
want to
know
hear
what
it.
you need to do. You know you need to train more. You know you need to do this. And hearing it from someone else isn't going to necessarily make you do it.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. I said, but the thing with me is I can't not do it, right? Like once I've started something, I can't not do it.
I'm glad you finally brought
We
it
finally
back.
got there. Holy shit! I was sitting there and I was like, "Are we just shitting on Oscar?
Yeah, I was
like, are we
wondering where
gonna
this
do
was
our
going
next
to.
story shitting on Oscar?
So-
You were gonna
so
compare him
you
to
did finally
Chambers.
bring
I
it
don't
back.
know. I didn't know where that was going.
So that's the problem, right? Like once I start something, I can't quit it. Whether it's that match, whether it's the academy, whether it's competing. Look, I want to retire. How long ago did I want to retire?
When you started?
Right. Keith even said that to me the other day. He said, "You've been trying to quit for 10 years."
Yeah.
It's just sad. There's something in your brain that you have to figure out how to turn a switch, right? And it sucks.
Yeah.
And it's miserable, but you have to.
That was a beautiful segue of having
It was-
the back taken for 2 hours and deciding to not tap.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know how, but at first I hated Chambers.
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes I was like, this dude's a bitch. And this is the worst jiu-jitsu I've ever seen in my life. And
You've seen me.
This is why you should. I said it when the qualifying to get in the house
Yeah.
that it should never happen. But luckily it was streamed and you could cut pieces out and make the action better.
Yeah.
But on live TV you can't do that. The world was very angry, and the way that Flo handled it kind of sucked. You can't stop the match, take him to the back room. I mean, we king of the mat this shit or what?
Yeah, that's actually how we handle
How many
it.
times did we do that king of the mat?
Twice.
Yeah, we did
So-
it
At
twice
least twice.
now.
And it's always the women's division.
Yeah, it's
Um,
always the women's division.
So I mean, they should have figured that out differently, unfortunately, and I don't know what it could have been, but the audience was mad. The audience, they're like, we're committed to this too. I mean, we want to see the end of it, and you're gonna move these people to the back room, and luckily it worked out. But Chambers almost won.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
There was
almost
one,
close to pop
one
his arm. Or something,
time
yeah.
he got him in that triangle armbar series or whatever, and Isaac was a little bit. I mean, he turned color, and I'm not saying that. I mean, maybe if I asked Isaac, he would say, "Yeah, it wasn't close, but it looked threatening."
Yeah.
And it's pretty impressive after getting your ass kicked for what, 60 minutes at that point? That you almost, I mean, could you imagine beating someone's ass for 60 minutes or an hour, 2 hours, whatever the case, and then losing? And it's $26,000.
Yeah.
I mean, the match is for $26,000, I think. I think it was like 10 grand cash and like 16 grand on that Tezos or whatever that they're doing.
Mhm.
It's not an insignificant amount of money.
No, so I mean, could you imagine losing 147-2 and getting out of 50 sub attempts and winning?
Yeah.
That, I mean, if he did win, it would have been like the biggest 10th Planet poster
Yeah.
in history. I mean,
Instead, you called him a bitch just 5 seconds ago.
so I said in the first 10 minutes I
First
thought he
2
was a
minutes,
bitch.
apologize. Yeah.
So later on in the match, I still think it was frustrating
Oh, okay.
to watch him do that. I mean, it's unbelievable that he could defend all that.
Yeah.
But was I telling you on the phone yesterday that the 10th Planet system, right, the EBI, is all about, right, when it goes to
Yeah,
overtime,
That's true.
it's back control or armbar control, right?
Yeah.
And nothing against Isaac. I don't know what the rest of his game was, but that was his only game at that point. If you watch the match for 2 hours,
Back in the armbar.
it's pass the guard, take the back control, arm bars, and that's all he went for, right? And I don't know. I mean, maybe he could say, you know what, I knew that was blah blah blah, so I wanted to beat him at that. But I just am curious if there was some type of leg lock battle or there was some type of other battle, who would have been stronger at that point. But clearly, Isaac's game was pass the guard, take the back, attack the back, or attack the arm.
Right.
And my guess is Chambers has probably worked a lot of EBI defense in those two areas.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he comes from that area. I know that's like the headquarters.
Yeah, he's out of Oceanside
Area.
or whatever with
Yeah.
Geo. So,
Yep.
so credit for being able to defend. I mean, Isaac's a monster right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's my
to me,
takeaway.
it reminds me a lot of Andrew. Same kind of build, same kind of body, same kind of attack system. So that pressure of 2 hours of getting smashed and out of subs. I mean, and Chambers got mean there
Yeah.
at 40-minute mark. I mean, he's shoving the head. I mean, it's almost like, semi, throwing strikes now at this point because he's like, I just want this dude done.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him.
No.
I mean, because I was
Neither.
sitting on one end and you're sitting there being, how do you beat Chambers, where you've gotten your ass kicked for an hour now, but then how do you beat Isaac, where you're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I can't sub this guy. So who mentally stays tougher at that point?
And that's a great segue into the last part of this. Who's number one is what we do now. What we do. Because we can't do that again, right?
No.
Like, there's, like, you can't, like, we now that we're running a show, we know, like, hey, there's certain things you just can't do. You can't have a match going and then say, hey, let's go put it in the back.
No.
And I mean, that's number one, right? But at the same time, that's not a good television product.
Right.
Even diehards like us that we make a show, a made-up show, so
Like
we
I
can
said, I
talk about
watched it.
jiu-jitsu.
And there's no way it's good enough for. It's not good for.
Yeah, but you also watch The Walking Dead still, so we're judging
There's
you
hope
completely
there.
on
There's
that.
hope there.
So, but what do you
They'll
think?
introduce vampires any day now.
What do you like? Are we talking about time limits of like an hour?
What
or
if,
are we talking
I
about
think even less
decisions,
than that,
points? I mean, what?
I like what I did with King of the Mat. Personally, that's just me.
Yeah. That would work because that's basically dropping it down to and putting in some rounds.
It was 10, 10, 5.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think Gordon Ryan's match of 30 minutes was horrible.
Right.
I think 30 minutes is like
30 minutes is
an
perfect,
ideal
but
time.
how do you make the decision after 30 minutes? Do you go off the typical because then clearly Isaac won, but Isaac clearly won anyways.
Here's a plug. I love the super show that Sun Yun does, that Submission Hunter Pro, where if they go to time limits, a draw. I like that because then that's enticing both people to go for it.
I know, but it sucks. Could you imagine for the audience of the?
Oh, I know.
You know, you have to.
It's not a
think,
good
like,
decision,
It's
but
kind of
yeah.
like that person that I was arguing with on Facebook. Who cares who's the GOAT? What's the future of the sport that people want to watch it?
Yeah.
Right? Like, nobody wants to go watch a tournament. No one wants to have 8 mats out there and watch a tournament. That's probably never going to happen.
Right.
What Flow's doing right now with, like, reality TV series and these, like, action-packed matches where they're pushing the pace and they're showing you who's winning,
Mm-hmm.
that's exciting. And, I mean, anybody can get that.
I just don't think you can go beyond 30 minutes a match and keep
No,
it
I don't
exciting.
think you can either.
I think that's just kind of the hard limit almost for a spectator's like attention span on one match.
Yeah.
So,
Would you do a criteria then, like make the judging open and like honestly do a criteria, like a math equation or something like that, to where like if this person has an X number of takedowns, subs, that you get so many points.
Unfortunately, it's like
I don't know.
no matter what system you set up, the players are going to find some way to manipulate it to win.
That's
Right.
what
that's
I was
just-
hitting at. Yeah,
That's just the
absolutely.
nature of competition.
Yeah, and then if you go with like it's this many sub attempts, this many guard pass attempts, and blah blah blah. Sometimes it's better to like, okay, this one was way closer than this one.
Yeah, like
and
how
so
do you weight those?
right, you'd have to weight them then. So then
Yeah.
that math formula is getting bigger and bigger and
and
bigger.
you have to decide what has more value, the guy on the bottom or the guy on top.
Right.
Yeah, or
You
like,
know, I mean,
is an
it's-
armbar worth as much as like
Yeah.
a rear naked choke?
Or
attempt?
kind of like Tristan got screwed that time, is escaping an armbar worth more than doing the armbar.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though we think that's
Yeah.
stupid, logically, I mean,
Right.
know.
So sadly enough, with nobody here likes the EBI, right?
Right.
The overtime.
I hate having to give up some type of
I
position.
I
like
do
that.
and I don't. I like that it has a definitive end though. I like that it
But it
comes to
still
this
doesn't have a
conclusion.
definitive end as much as it's like you escaped faster than the other guy or you slipped out
But at
faster.
least it has a conclusion.
Because here's the thing, right? Like if I start with your back, right? You're kind of feeling how I'm going to have your back.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, right, when we started that one show, episode 6, right? And you had to do the sales pitch first.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sucks for you. You got to figure out how to be the one that doesn't screw up.
Sure.
Once I know, well, he only did it 40 seconds. I got to make it 41. Right? It gives that person somewhat of an advantage.
It does. But like I said, no matter what system you put in place, there's always going to be
Right.
some level of that gaming.
The only thing with the EBI one that I don't like is some of those shows, they legitimately are playing for the overtime.
Yeah,
Submission
right.
Underground.
100%.
That,
Right. Yeah, they're
that's-
just laying there and they're...
I can't.
They're
that,
doing this.
And
And
that's
that-
to me a worse TV product than
Yeah,
anything.
it's so unexciting.
So
I think what Flo's doing is really good right now.
yeah,
I think that you just need 3 judges, and each judge has to be a perfectionist in some area, like a wrestling, a guard player,
oh, that is a good.
top player,
Yeah.
and then you're getting the 3 pushes through that.
So open. So probably we'd say 30 minutes.
And
Open
every
scoring.
5 minutes, it needs to be
Yeah.
said out loud who the favor is.
Open scoring, and then diverse judging. I'd say that's probably the fairest you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right.
I also think that.
otherwise-
Never mind. I forget what I was.
We
gonna say.
talked about breaking it down into rounds like MMA before too, and
Right.
that would be okay too, because then you would know going in. All right, I'm down 2 rounds. I need to get this.
That's not a bad idea.
I
honestly.
like that because that brings in a lot of coaching.
Yeah.
And it would make it exciting. Like if you had a coach's camera and you actually heard, like I always say that like in the MMA stuff, I like to hear what the coaches say.
Yeah,
I
same.
really enjoy that.
Yeah, I find that interesting.
Could you imagine jiu-jitsu where we probably understand it even better? Like hearing a coach be like, hey, we can't be here again. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
I find that, very exciting.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that keep it the most exciting, and I'm sure they do this, is if you come on and you have one of those stalled out, boring performances, and just don't invite that guy back ever again. That's the
Well,
bottom line. You just
yeah.
got to keep cycling those people out till you get the exciting matches in there.
Yeah, I've actually talked to one super fight owner, and he said that's the number one. He said if I see, and this is kids, so it's got a little morbid, but
Yeah.
he goes, if I see one kid T-Rex their arms when they're mounted like this, he's like, I'm done. He's like, they won't come back.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he's like, it's not doing anything, it's not teaching anything,
Right.
and he's like, he's
It's
even
certainly
heard,
not exciting to
no,
watch.
and he's even heard coaches say like, hey, let's look for a draw now. And
Yeah.
and that's just like, oh, you're never gonna be invited
Yeah.
back. Yeah. So, all right. So we have a new segment.
Yep, we're gonna
So-
start doing a couple new segments until you guys start following us better and sending us videos for us to
Shit talk.
shit
you.
talk you, which
That's-
I don't know why anybody doesn't want to do that.
That was
I can't
very
imagine.
threatening and aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pointed at it.
We're gonna do some technique videos for you guys so that hopefully you enjoy that content. We're gonna try to throw out a 5-minute technique video at the end of each show now, and we'll just be discussing different techniques. If you guys want us to discuss one of your techniques, send us a message, and we'll make sure we put it in a future episode. So let's get to that. Right?
Nope.
No, we got more.
No. We got one more segment.
Oh shit.
We are at 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So how long do we think this is gonna last?
It could go quick.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's what she said.
So we have one more segment. This is Ronnie is now a co-producer. He's probably about half and half on this script with me. So Ronnie, I'm gonna let you explain it. Other than I gave it the name because I love the name.
It's a good name.
This segment is called Shark Tank for our overlords at IBJJF. After we just shit talk them.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So here's what's gonna happen is I am gonna come in and I'm gonna rebrand a move that is right now illegal in IBJJF. You guys are the IBJJF overlords, and I'm gonna try to convince you guys to accept that this is gonna be accepted as we rename and rebrand this move.
It's accepted. We're done.
Okay.
No,
Just like that.
So this is gonna be Shark Tank style. So we're gonna let Chad have the final word.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'll go first, Brandon, then Chad.
Okay.
All right. So let's pitch us.
So I'm here. One, surprised that you're all not Brazilian, but the next thing is I'm
They
here
stole the
to.
sport from my country.
I thought I was Brazilian.
I'm here to talk about slamming. Now, slamming has always been just a dirty thing in jiu-jitsu, and I know that you guys are all, it's a protection of the sport, but picture this. We rebrand it. We're going to allow it again, and we're going to call it accelerated ground cuddles. So we get this to the ground nice and quick so we can get into our cuddling a lot quicker. And some things that's going to be helpful. I mean, how many times have you been sitting there, you're watching a white belt match, you're looking at your clock, you know the pizza's here, you want to go eat your pizza, you're a ref, you want to go, you don't want to watch this anymore. Over. Slam, done. Not a slam, accelerated ground cuddle, done. Match over, and you're ready to go. So this is my pitch to you guys. I just want to know what you guys think.
Well, when you say, I have one follow-up question. When you say done, it's over, what are you talking about?
They're most likely knocked out.
But
Okay.
accelerated.
Accelerated.
Yes.
But I get to go eat pizza.
You get to go eat pizza.
Okay. I'm a fat guy.
That's
I like
really
pizza.
putting me
Your
Yeah,
daughter's
yeah.
neck's broke,
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you get to eat pizza.
Or acai bowls.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with This judge is going to go with no. I don't think we can. I don't think we can do your accelerated ground cuddles. But
Your loss.
It's I'm only one of 3, so go ahead.
I mean, it's a good idea,
Right.
but it's a bad idea.
This isn't going.
I think if I was going to rebrand it, I would rebrand it to spiking. No spiking, but allow the slamming.
Okay.
Oh, so that sounds like a yes then.
I'll take it.
Wow. Okay.
He wants 50%.
All right. There we go. So Chad is going to be the.
I'm in for 20%.
He's going to be the. Chad's going to be the deciding vote on this and see if.
Have you talked to any companies to try to figure out the statistics on injury to death rate to lawsuit value per sign up? So, on
Accelerated
average, our
rental.
sign ups are $130 per sign up, right?
Yeah.
What would, let's say, if we get out of 1 in 500 athletes, they sue us and we have to pay out, $500,000 somehow.
Well,
Do you feel like we'll still make profit
yeah,
compared
'cause
to the
we're gonna,
injury/death rate?
Yeah, we're cutting back and we're not giving out medals anymore.
Oh, shit.
So that should save enough money.
Done.
We found the way.
We just fixed IBJJF.
We made it way more exciting and save money.
All right. Well, on that note, we are now going to fix your game with a technique video from our overlord Chad.
All right.
All right.
Let's get
See you guys.
started.
See ya.
And if it's not the right question, we're not answering it. It's like our government.
I'm gonna have to circle back.
We're not allowed to talk about politics on our show. All right, what's the question?
So I guess how do you first off, how do you set up the reverse build? So like from here? Yeah, like how would you bait it or get to that point where it's not like big?
So you're going to either shoot it, right? Walk the knee, shoot it, pull. Okay, as soon as I pull, I have to have a connection. So, turn towards the camera, Brandon. Yeah, that's nice. See? If you need your opponent to do something, just ask him.
Yeah, that's nice enough.
Alright, so it's important that I keep this hook here.
Do you ever actively do this? Grab this foot
Yeah.
and yank it like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That was something that Eva showed when we were in Florida, was to grab his foot and pull.
Yeah, it makes it like breaking
So-
the posture.
It's nice, especially if you go under here, then you're like this.
Yeah.
So, same thing with the Deli Eva. Right? So, same thing with the Deli Eva, is you can grab your own foot and pull it.
Yeah, I do remember you showing
For
this
no
on
knee.
Zoom. Yeah.
So, for reverse Deli Eva, we're here. Now, what's your question?
If I sit here,
Hey, what would be the best way to counter that when they sit down?
Are they clubbing my head or not clubbing my head?
I mean, they would want to come back, correct? So I'm what would be the best? Not
So-
get there, you would
No. This is great because people don't realize when you get your head clubbed, right, that all their weight's off their hips now. Right? Their hips have no weight and all their weight is on their upper body. So all I have to do is just continue to lift and spin, right? Right? So now from here, I'm either bringing the leg behind, right, depending on how he sits, or I'm doing the reverse butterfly crab ride. So if he doesn't go to this position, he stays standing kind of, right? And then I'm going to come over, and then this is going to swim in. Like it just depends. But if they tip the reason the reverse Del Hiva fails, like if you watch me defend reverse Del Hiva, I stay back and I keep all my weight on my hips. That way you can't get under me. If you club my head, you have no weight on your hips, therefore you can just go right under. So here he clubs, right here. I don't want to get this arm like stuck where he can get his chest on me. So I always like block to make sure. But then this swims here. See? So once I hook, now I have to decide what I want to do. Like right now, if I want, I can spin back the other way, right? Like I can spin back here and then wrestle up, right? Or I can come back under and then this can come here.
what are you gonna do from here? Just let it go and wrestle up again?
From here, so from here I want to think about trying to get this, like the reverse crab ride.
To then still stand up though?
For me,
Yeah.
no, like I would come up like I'm going to try to leg drag.
Yeah. Okay.
right? Like I want to try to put pressure down in this smash. Like I want to keep that knee.
So I can't base it, basically.
Right, but even if you do get up, I should be able to chase your back the whole time. Like I should have a reverse grab right. So yeah, just anytime somebody clubs your head, right? So, and then keep this. So then when he comes back up, right? Now you go back to the double grab right. Got it? Any other questions?
I mean, other than like, is there any way to prevent it from sitting? Or no, it's just
What do you mean, like sitting back on it?
like, is there any way that you can?
So like you pull it and then they're just immediately sitting, you're saying?
Yeah, instantly. Like, there's no way to prevent that from happening. Like threaten something.
Well, they're just sitting like this.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of people realize that they're connected to the person's leg, right? And this foot right here, so, right? And then I just gotta keep the leg off the ground so he can't come back up. So, then, you know, depending on what he's doing, like this hook, see this will keep him up off the ground, right? So like this hook can come in here, and then I can start from under. And start to, you know, like, it's chaining your berimbolo and reverse belly heel together. You got all that?
Yeah. I'll start working on it.
Immediately.
Segment 1 done.
Was that 5 minutes?
That was 5 minutes. Now